Hello everyone, welcome back to Geomorphology. In the previous sessions, we were discussing on various relief orders found on the surface of the earth. And mountains are one of the second most relief features of the earth crust. So, in today's geomorphology session, we will be discussing on mountain as the second order relief features and theories of mountain building, particularly focusing on the geosynclinal orogeny theory of Kober. Mountains are the second most relief features that lies at an elevation of 300 meter above the mean sea level from its surrounding area. However, there are various definitions given for these mountain ranges depending upon their position and the period of formation. A mountain ridge is a system of long, narrow, and high hills. At the same time, a mountain range is a system of mountains and hills, that means with several ridges, peaks, valleys, and summits. You can take the example of Karakoram mountain range as a best example for the mountain range. A mountain chain is a long, narrow group of mountain ranges formed during different periods. Our Himalayan system is a mountain chain. At the same time, a mountain system is a group of different mountain ranges of the same period which are separated generally by valleys. You can take the example of Hindu Kush as a mountain system. Now, generally, all the mountains have three important characteristics, even though their nature is complex. All the great mountain systems of the earth are made of sedimentary rocks. Take the example of Alps, Himalayas, Rockies, all consist of stratified rocks, which shows that they have been formed in the beds of sea. Almost all important mountain systems of the world are shaped and runs from east to west or from north to south parallel to the coastline of the continents which they occur. The thickness of the strata in the folded mountains is comparatively more than the surrounding plains. And on the basis of these three characteristics, we can identify three stages of growth of a mountain. The stage 1 is the geosynclinal stage. When the sediment was being deposited in the shallow waters and silted up, the grounds for the mountain building was provided. This has been termed as the preparatory stage of mountain building. The fossils found between the strata of the mountains shows that the geosynclinal must be shallow seas in which the sedimentation happened first and the layers of silt were deposited. The beds gradually sink in order to provide condition for the silt to be brought above. The second stage is the orogenic stage. When the silting of the geosynclinal has undergone for a long time, it is subjected to compression and tension from the both sides of strata or the silt beds. As a result of this, the whole strata is bended into a series of folds. The surface of the strata will raise to a dome or an arch, like that of an anticline and a syncline. The third stage is the epeirogenic stage. After the strata being compressed into synclines and anticlines, the whole mass will get uplifted. Due to more compression, whole area becomes more shorter in extent and gets uplifted. Now let's look into one of the major theory of mountain building. Different hypotheses and theories were postulated from time to time to explain the origin of fold mountains. The hypotheses related to the mountain building are divided into two groups. One is the theories based on the horizontal forces, and the other one is based on the vertical forces. And The geosynclinal origin theory of Kober was published in the year 1925 in the book The Bao the Day. The main objective of this theory was to establish the relation between the ancient rigid landmass, we call them as cratogene, and the mobile oceanic zones, which we term as orogen. He not only tried to explain the origin of mountains, but also attempted to explain various aspects such as the geological history of the mountains, evolution, and stages of development. Kober defined the process of mountain building as that process which links the rigid landmass with geosynclines. That means the cratogene with orogen. The theory is basically based on the contraction force produced by the cooling of the earth. Kober assumed that the force of contraction generated by cooling of the earth has made the rigid masses or the forelands to move horizontally, push, squeeze, and fold the sediments into mountain ranges. So his theory is based on the horizontal forces. Now let's look into what is the base of the theory. According to Kober, geosyncline is an essential condition for the development of a mountain. There were mobile zones of water or the geosynclines in place of present day mountains. Kober considered that these mobile zones, which are our geosynclines, are the place of mountain building. These geosynclines are surrounded by rigid masses which are termed as cratogene or the foreland. The cratogene consists of 8 major shields, namely the Canadian Shield, the Russian Massif, Chinese Massif, Siberian Shield, African Shield, Brazilian Massif, Peninsula India, and Australian and Antarctica Massif. Kober also stated that the morphotectonic units are the regions where the mountain building really occurred. When Kober tried to explain the concept of mountain building, he stated that this process is not a sudden one, but a gradual process that took different periods. Thus, there were total 6 periods, of which 3 have occurred during the Precambrian time. 2 mountain building processes occurred during the Paleozoic era, where the Caledonian orogenesis occurred in the Silurian period, and the Versican orogenesis occurred in the Permo-Carboniferous age. And the last mountain building process was the Alpine orogeny of Tertiary period. Kober propounded that there are cooling of the earth that led to the contraction of earth, which resulted in the horizontal compressional movements. These horizontal compressional movements caused squeezing, which resulted in the formation of mountains. Thus, the mountain building formation happened through 3 stages, namely lithogenesis, orogenesis, and glyptogenesis. Lithogenesis is the preparatory stage of mountain building. It is the first stage related to the preparation of geosynclines through contraction process caused due to the gradual cooling of earth. Kober states that almost all the mountains have high thickness of strata than the surrounding regions, which proves that geosynclines are more thicker than the surroundings. Geosynclines are the mobile zones of water surrounded by the rigid landmass. The thickness of this geosyncline happens through 2 ways. When the surrounding rigid masses are weared away by the running water through denudation, it gets deposited in the mobile water zones. This process is termed as sedimentation. After a long time of sedimentation process, due to the weight of the overlying sediments, the underlying beds of geosynclines are under high pressure. This makes the geosynclines to subside gradually and get compacted. This process is termed as subsidence. These two processes of sedimentation and subsidence resulted in the increase in thickness of geosynclinal beds. Orogenesis is the real stage of mountain building process. Under this stage, both the forelands or the cratogene started to move towards each other as a result of horizontal movement caused due to the contraction of earth. When the forelands come together each other, it squeezes and folds the geosynclinal beds to form mountain ranges. The parallel ranges formed on the either side of the geosynclines are called as Rankatan or the marginal ranges. The folding of the sedimentary rocks into the mountain ranges depends upon the intensity of the compressional force. If the compressional force is having moderate intensity, only marginal sediments are folded to form two marginal ranges, that is Rankatan, while the middle part of the geosyncline remains stationary without any folding. This unfolded portion is called as Zwischenberg or median mass. You can take the example of Tibetan Plateau as a median mass between the Kunlun and the Himalayan mountains. If the compressional force is so strong enough, then the geosynclinal sediments are compressed, squeezed, and folded to become folded mountains. Glyptogenesis is the third stage of mountain building. In this stage, the mountain building is characterized by gradual uplift or the rise of mountains, and their denudation will begin by fluvial and other gradational agents, which later on reduce their original size. Now let's critically evaluate the theory of Kober. According to the scientist, the force of contraction due to the cooling of Earth is not enough to create gigantic mountains like Himalayas. According to Suez, only one side of the geosyncline is backland that moves whereas the other side is foreland that remains stable. However, with the development of the concept of plate tectonics, this view became meaningless. Kober's theory was able to support the east-west orientation of mountains like our Himalayas, but he failed to explain the north-south direction of the mountains. This theory, however, became the base for mountain building process, as the concept of geosyncline was proved to be right through the later developments and studies. Friends, I hope you have enjoyed today's session. For your queries and suggestions, please post in the comment box or in the Google Classroom. I wish everyone a great day ahead. Thank you.